Hello everyone! My last few videos have been pretty beefy. What Else I Saw in June covered 8 movies, the Pygmalion video covered 4, and of course the Sinbad trilogy was 3. I would like to take it easy this week, so here's a short review of a relatively short 70-minute film, 1951's The Man from Planet X, directed by Edgar G. Ulmer. From his observatory on a Scottish isle, an American scientist notices a new planet rapidly approaching Earth. He shares his concerns with Robert Clark's visiting journalist, and that night, while Clark is touring the moors with the scientist's daughter, they come across a strange metallic object. And later, she finds a rocket ship and sees a face looking out at her. The men investigate, and a being emerges, but with no way to communicate, they have no idea what its intentions are. I'd seen some of this movie on TV years ago, and I always meant to catch the rest, but it's been kind of elusive. I finally found a quality upload on Dailymotion, which I've put a link to in the description if you'd like to watch it for yourself. Though this pales in comparison to some of the bigger sci-fi horror classics released in 1951, it's pretty good. While it's a lower-budget production, it has a distinct and appealing visual style that grabs your attention from the start, and if you're familiar with Edgar G. Ulmer, you're aware that's something he's known for. Ulmer was an Austrian filmmaker who got his start working for some big names in German Expressionism. In 1923, he came to the US with theater director Max Reinhardt, and quickly began to climb the Hollywood ladder. In 1934, he directed Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff in one of their best, most striking collaborations, The Black Cat. But Ulmer's rise was cut short when he had an affair with the wife of a producer who was Universal head Carl Laemmle's nephew. Definitely crossed the wrong person. Ulmer found himself exiled from all major studios. The only place that would take him was Producers Releasing Corporation, which was known as the poorest production company on Poverty Row, basically the bottom of the barrel. Thus he got the nickname the King of PRC. Despite this setback, Ulmer went on to have an active career, his sense of style and atmosphere giving much of his work distinction. The two films he's most known for are The Black Cat, where he had far more resources at his disposal and was able to make a more polished film, and 1945's notoriously raw film noir, Detour. He made films in a variety of genres, including a few forays into science fiction with Beyond the Time Barrier and The Amazing Transparent Man, both released in 1960, and this film, The Man from Planet X, which, by the way, was not a PRC production. The film does have a certain leanness about it, and there are no major names attached. Robert Clark primarily starred in B-movies, and he worked for Ulmer again in Beyond the Time Barrier, opposite Ulmer's own daughter. His leading lady here is Margaret Field. She and Clark reunited the following year in 1952's Captive Women, also known as 3000 AD, also known as 1000 Years From Now. I reviewed that, I think, last year, and I remember it featured another alumnus from this movie, William Shallard. Here, Shallard plays an opportunistic brainiac with a shady past who Clark is disturbed to find staying with his friends. We never find out exactly what he did, but we know he's bad, as he lurks, creeps, and skulks his way through the movie. The Man from Planet X has some standout moments, especially in its first half. The photography is attractive, and the setting on the moors gives the film a lonely, vulnerable aura. Fog swirls in just about every exterior shot, and occasionally you even hear a dog howling in the distance. Foggy nights in black and white movies inevitably make me think of werewolves, and I couldn't help imagining how awesome it might be if Lawrence Talbot suddenly popped out of the gloomy mist. As for the alien, whether you think it looks spooky or goofy, it's a highlight. Its introduction is a great jump scare. I saw that part years ago, and it got me good. It startled me. I wasn't expecting the alien to look like that, and it was jarring. It kind of freaked me out a little bit. And so I've always remembered that part. I will say this time I knew it was coming. It happened. And then I was like, that wasn't nearly as startling as I remembered. But the design is eerie. I think the close but no cigar verisimilitude is what's so off-putting. The form is humanish, but a little too small, too skinny, and the face mimics human features, but it's all wrong. A grotesquely blown-up head with an oversimplified parody of a face. There were elements here that reminded me of 1953's It Came from Outer Space, and also, surprisingly, 1982's E.T. An alien crash lands, it follows a helpful human to his house. It's frightening at first, but it turns out to be smaller than originally thought and acts docile unless provoked. There are fervent efforts to establish a communication link, and then everything goes wrong. But this alien retaliates when attacked, and those in the know within the small community are thrown into a panic with a spaceman on the loose, villagers disappearing, and Planet X on its way. Unfortunately, there is a definite point, at least in my opinion, where things grind to a halt. It's like all the interesting stuff happened in the first two-thirds, and then we're in a holding pattern. And when the climax comes, it does get exciting again. But then the ending left me saying, that's it? I don't know if it's a consequence of budgetary constraints or if that's how the story was supposed to resolve all along, but I found the ending anticlimactic. In spite of that, however, I think The Man from Planet X is worth checking out. It's only 70 minutes long, it's got some striking photography and set design, the alien is fun, and there's something unique in its approach to the story. I hope you enjoyed this review. Feel free to share your thoughts on this movie if you've seen it in the comments below, and stay tuned because next week I'll fill you in on what else I managed to squeeze in this month. Thanks for watching.